Hello everyone, my name is Yuta Jazz, and we are going to come back with another episode of the Occult Saga podcast. And today we're going to talk about shadow work and shadow realm and shadow, I guess, in general. I'm gonna probably try and tie it into the Underworld episode a little bit, but not too much. And even then, that episode was basically me just saying, like, go check out the Underworld yourself. But shadow work is Shadow work is very much essential for any and every person's growth. The premise, I feel like, has sometimes been confused on what is shadow work and its importance, and also it's apparently fucking addictive, which is kind of funny. Um, Literally, people can get addicted to the point of healing or delving into trauma and, in general, addiction to pain or despair or discomfort or figuring the problems out behind them can literally manifest itself as like an obsession. Shadow work shouldn't, even if it goes on for months or years, shouldn't be your only focus each and every hour, each and every day. Sometimes you might be forced or compelled into it because you may be struggling with something or avoiding something, right? Or the wound is so big, it's kind of hard to look at or see. Because you gotta zoom out, see all of it, and then love it for what it is, right? And the thing is, it's easy to get lost in, but shadows and shadow work of one person is basically your hidden feelings and emotions. They can be negative or positive even. So you could be having something hidden from yourself about your shadow that is, let's say, your anger about certain circumstances, right? But that anger can be either good or bad, depending if it's coming from a hateful, spiteful, toxic place, or if it's coming from a righteous understanding, or a place of love and seeing discrimination, or whatever it is, right? Wanting change, having fuel for the fire of your passions. Um, so anger, either way, there isn't necessarily good or bad by default. You need to figure that out and where it stems from, at what cost has it come, like why did it get hidden to begin with, right? Shadow work kind of involves like going through certain steps of realizing these hidden aspects to them, bring light to them or bring them to the light, whichever freaking works for you. And have a tangible clarity upon them, actually see them for what they are, these shadow aspects, these shadow sides to you. It really gives you clarity on your true character and personality and the two sides to it. Because also, besides that, like obviously, the shadow can have hidden inhibitions that may be quite unhealthy, quite toxic, quite fucked up, because you yourself have been through fucked up shit, right? Um, some people, after they've been, obviously, I shouldn't like disclaim the point that trigger warning, this episode might be fucking triggering, but I'll do it anyway and say trigger warning, this episode might be fucking triggering. Um, if you've been abused, there's a high percentage of possibility and probability. I think it's lowered now over the course of the last like 20 years or something like that, that you're gonna abuse someone in the same way, especially if you're not going to recount that experience, heal it within yourself, or give it clarity for yourself, or see it, or talk about it to anyone. Like even, sometimes it's enough to just vent about it and explain it from your experience or point of view, right? Um, Sometimes it's just gaining acceptance and letting it go, or forgiving, depending on which one works for you. As long as you let it go, that's the whole important part about it. But a lot of the time, you find people that have such a hard time dealing with whatever they've experienced that instead of then ever looking at it, they're running so far, far, far away from it, further than their legs can carry them, that they literally just repeat the same actions because they ignore it, sometimes even forget the experience, blank it out completely, And I'm not talking about when it's so intense, like your memory shuts down and you can't recall it, and then you need to go through processes of like bringing that out. I'm talking about like the person literally forces themselves or focuses on forgetting instead of actually, sorry, my throat. I can already feel I'm gonna need to pause this episode a few times, but they literally forget that, so they don't get haunted by it. They don't need to feel the pain all the time. They don't need to deal with it either, right? And then they co-create that experience for other people. They literally become the perpetrator of the thing that they've experienced. Usually it's really high-end traumatic things. I don't want to mention them. Um, but some of the most discriminated experiences that people can have literally get pushed aside by society so badly that those people, instead of seeking help, they don't feel like they can, etc., and it festers and it literally makes them like act the same way as how someone has acted against them. Um, Deep physical, emotional, mental violence of many and all sorts. I really don't want to mention the specifics that are coming to mind because I just don't want to. I don't want to make the episode about that. I feel like it would open doors. I don't need to open those doors. And also for listeners, I don't want it to be too graphic or dark or uncomfortable and whatever. And also, people can take it the other side. They can take it to the point where instead of helping certain people that may benefit from them being treated more as a victim than a menace or the perpetrator, right? Instead of taking that road, they've just find different ways of victimizing other people that have been already victims to begin with, and that's why they were actually like becoming different types of predators of themselves, right? Because they were experiencing a predator at some point when they were in a certain scenario, in a certain workplace, in a certain, place when they were a kid or a child or whatever, and it just keeps on going that way. Um, the vigilante syndrome, as it were, if you could say if done right, it's gonna be fine, but at the same time, it's a very dangerous place to be in, and it's a slippery slope. It's a real slippery slope. Um, if you go through spirituality or different, I don't know, recollections of morality and ethics and healing of, shadow work and other shit long enough, you realize that there's no real answer to things as much as there is always going to be an answer in treating things with understanding, compassion, and love. Even if you're passing down harsh judgment or having to take like extreme action against people and things, it's because then you're actually dealing with the root causes in the way that they need to be dealt with. So there's no more repressed energy or anything to go off of going on, right? Because eventually there's just going to be like a loop of the same shit, an infinity sign over itself, um, because of how you treat the problem is how you're going to get the result of the same problem. Same goes with each individual in person. You gotta work through your own root cause of your experiences and problems instead of stuffing them away and forgetting about them to actually heal and then act like a proper, adequate person that is healed or acts out of their own sovereignty, out of their own authenticity, out of their own actual thoughts, actual feelings, actual desires, passions, angers, whatever it is, instead of being driven by a unconscious wound that you literally stuff down to forget about, because when you're doing that, you're stuffing down yourself. You're putting down yourself into a corner saying you don't fucking matter, forget about it. Fucking forget about it. Get the hell out of my way. I need to live my life the way I need to live my life. And that part, even if it's unseen and unhealed and unrecognized, can claw itself out into your command center of your life and start creating experiences. And it doesn't matter how much you're going to fight them, how much you're going to say you're a bad person over this or that, or what you're going to define it as, or how you're going to hold yourself back or emotionally shut down or anything. You can, through that ignorance, literally create the same circumstance of either oppression, hate, violence, or whatever you've been through in the same exact manner, even. And you won't notice it, or you won't realize it, or you will, and then you're gonna bypass it in a way that's even more toxic and widespread, and then creates the same problem over and over and over again. So it's not just good or bad things that can be in the shadow. I'm gonna retrace and go back because we spoke about a little bit of that for a reason. I don't know where this is going. It's all channel, but we'll see. Um, so shadow, when it comes to the shadow, there's also positive traits of yourself that you can put down because they are either discriminated, put down, abused, or used, and it's considered a weakness. And so, as to not be weak or susceptible or vulnerable or open to certain experiences, you will put down positive and good traits of yourself also into the corner. It's not just, negative things that scream out for attention and pain and recognition and support and love. It's also the positive aspects that aren't recognized within our lives by our peers, by our friends and family and loved ones. It can be the point that you're a great artist, right? But everyone in your family has been an accountant. And you say, I want to be an artist. And they mock you and put you down and say, fuck you, what the hell are you thinking about? No, you don't earn money that way. You're going to have a shitty life. No, we can't let you have that experience. We want you to be successful and happy. So you're not going to be an artist. We're going to push you towards being, financially acute, or in general, like being made anything but an artist. If you hit either being an accountant or being in law or something like that, we're gonna be happy because that is a successful avenue of life to go by, right? But for you, that would not be your joy or happiness. And you need to face and deal with that and go through life understanding and recognizing that and coming out of your shell and creating this new experience that would be of an artist. Um, and yeah, that can happen with many things. This one is like the most common example I can think of, but it's not the only one. We have many positive traits in the world that get diminished and put aside to be bad. Just think of like vulnerability and emotional intelligence, right? Being a loving, caring person in many parts of the world is only now becoming like a respected, sought after detail or aspect, right? But it's coming into a whole new view and balance. Being interested in nerdy things over being like, I don't know, into sports and being a jock and stuff like that. Uh, Anything. You can actually like put anything to it. Just pick your own thing of like what is actually positive about you, but probably someone has put down and said like, no, that's not okay, that's not good, or whatever. Um, and anything can happen. You know, the same like example that I've just used, I can switch it out. So, sports and whatever being something that is not supported in your life, right? Because maybe because of your overprotective surroundings and environment, it was said that this is dangerous, this is not good, and etc. And you can't explore yourself to be a child when you're super young, and you grow up actually inhibiting yourself to a point where you develop severe anxieties, OCD, maybe some other mental health qualities. I am not a mental health professional, but sometimes that's actually a root cause of how certain things can develop, is because you have a certain type of upbringing. Not most, I won't say, mo I'll say it this way. Mental health aspects or experiences that aren't genetic always derive from certain traumatic experiences. Traumatic experiences don't need to just be very high volatile or super extreme violent experiences. They can be experiences that are continuous control, stress, worry, or panic within your environment from multiple aspects of either experience or people, and it just being a maintained, like, continuous experience. Um, it could just be one moment, it could be a reoccurring moment every so often. Like, it depends on your experience, but if it's not genetic, it's nurture based, and it comes from something or somewhere. And anything good of you can be described as something bad that then gets put into the shadow within yourself that then you need to have some time to get reacquainted with and get it out of those depths. Give it nurturing and love and real attention and reintegration into your own personality and identity, because your core truth of who you are as a person can, or as a character, can be split apart into what you try and show up as, right? Which might have a mix of true aspects and untrue aspects, and then the same is for your shadow. It can have true aspects and it can be untrue aspects, and they are closely tightly knit to you as well. And those aspects can also be positive or negative. They can be talents and gifts and huge hyper interests of certain people, or just a specific viewpoint of life and maybe their own thought process and feeling and personality, right? And they also can be resentment or repression of uncomfortable emotional experiences, thoughts, and other things. Whenever something repressed is showing up, it's showing up because you need to show it attention and understanding to realize its root cause and reasoning, lest you want your whole character and personality and identity to be completely fractured, split apart, and also mangled and disjointed in a way where it's like some of it is maybe true, but also you can't really express yourself fully, comfortably, um, and strongly, because you have this mixed bag and mixed match of like, oh, this is my dark side, but maybe some of it actually isn't, and you don't know, right? And this is my light side, and this is how I should show up, and some of it isn't like even anything that will ever make you happy, or you can't keep lying to the world and yourself that this is who you are, or you can't keep putting up a front or a face, or putting yourself down, thinking like, oh, this is, how I show up or should show up, or this is how I can't show up, and so I'm a failure. Like, there's many different ways of how this can translate, but the important part is to go through that process of realizing and admitting it and understanding where it comes from, stems from, why it happens, what to do about it, honestly. Because way too many people in the world and through life have created separation trauma within individuals, and then the individual and all of us, if not a lot of us, carried this on forward through multiple lifetimes as well, by the way, of creating, like co-creating, and then just like really focusing on masquerading that like separation being the norm or the good thing, or somehow helping you become who you are, or whatever yada yada like bullshit it might encompass. Truth be told, and truth is, everyone is very much unique. The world is way big enough for everyone to just be themselves, but you need to realize who you are, how you are, and you need to treat yourself appropriately and adequately for it first before you can have certain experiences or you can relish in them, right? or so you can actually have the life you need in realizing your own life and divinity within that. Because I don't know, let's say an example popped up like a couple of minutes ago in my head. You're one of those people that has very much low emotional understanding, but you're not a bad person, right? You don't really have like severe negative intentions towards anyone or anything. You're just probably kind of cold and calculated and very analytical and particular and specific in details and facts, right? That's just the way you process. Well, you might have actually went through a whole lifetime and experience of people saying you're a bad person, or how rude of you, or how fucked up of you, or this or that. And you're none of those things, right? That can create such a disjointed characteristic and personality that you might have violent ideations. Any person that gets completely put down for who they truly are and all of their truth aspects or identity being kind of put down as bad, wrong, useless, or worthless, or whatever, can experience really shitty symptoms from that experience. But I feel like the violent ideations and outbursts or severe critical like visualizations can come up within very cold, logical, calculated people more so than otherwise, but it doesn't have to be that way. Truth is, if anyone goes through like significant, severe repression of that sort, right, or separation, can start experiencing suicidal thoughts, can start experiencing violent images like gore and stuff like that, um, thinking of violence and you're not a violent person, death and decay, accidents, accident visualization is very also pertinent and like prominent. Um, and that's an extreme. Those are like extreme levels to which like if that carries on for years, you're gonna probably need to go to a doctor, or you're going to need some significant help. So yeah, if you're experiencing that, my prayers are with you. Please, find someone you can trust to um, get through what you're getting through and get whatever necessary help you need, or start working on that however you can. And yet again, tell it to someone at least. Be careful on who. Obviously, pick and choose who's the right person for you, but seeking out professional help is also a good idea. It can just help you see where you're at as well, depending, right? Whether they can or can't help you. But uh, also check out, this is just coming up. I'm not really, I usually just try and do things for entertainment, but I feel like if this episode ever goes big viral or is seen by many people, I do want it to be like known, like check out suicidal lines. They're just good free lines, hotlines to talk to random people and strangers that you are not going to really ever meet or communicate with regularly, right? And they can provide options for help that might be accessible and free for you that will help you get through whatever you need to get through, or just reach out and seek some help out or figure out options if you can't jump right away to, I don't know, AA or therapy or counseling or other things, right? Maybe that's like the most anonymous, simplest, easiest free way you could get to some help. So, yeah. Shadow work, I didn't expect it to be this deep or dark of an episode, but I really felt like I really had to mention that. So to whoever that was for, like, yeah, prayers be with you. I get it. I really do. I don't seem like it, but I fucking get it. Trust me. And then everyone can get through their issues or problems, but you really need to not be afraid of like facing your fears and facing your problems and issues. It takes time, a lot of the time, like the best way it got described to me when I got into my spiritual journey the first time is if it took you 10, 20 years to get fucked up by something, it's gonna take you at least half the time, if not more, most of the time a little bit more, to get unfucked from it. So 20 years of something equals at least 10 years of shadow work. If you're really speeding through it, it could be a little bit less personal experience explanation. Like, it sucks though. Usually you go through severe health issues, you go through severe discombobulated experiences within life and a lot of chaos of like, job losses or gains or whatever, things not starting and beginning and then having like a weird swerve in your life and whatever it is, but most of the time it's going to just be like very much feeling like you get stretched out and put back together over and over and over again continuously without a break for multiple years until you're fine and okay, but you gotta like really buckle in and have that experience, right? And you go through that mentally, emotionally, physically, and within your whole life aspects. So most people, so they don't need to go through traumatizing experiences like that, go through it as a stretched out period of time. If you start healing or working through your issues or seeking out therapy, it's going to take just as long um, as half the time of like how long you've been going through something. If you're still going through something, it's going to help you figure out how to stop going through it or realize why it's happening and how it's happening and, move on forward with it. Shadow work is essential for everyone, basically. How it happens and the different styles is up to everyone personally because, shadow work is a spiritual term of you going through your darkness and your hidden aspects and you're realizing them and guiding them back home to center and reintegrating them to or with your identity and core truth and personality and character of who you are. It's reclaiming those parts of you that have been discarded into the side or to the side and said to be useless, worthless, and labeled as something not of you, but are definitely of you and just need to be brought back home, as it were. People do it through different means without being spiritual. My tickly ass throat is getting the better of me, so I'm gonna apologize for a moment. I'm not gonna lie, I had to grab a cup of water and I got distracted in my mind, so I'm kind of coming back into the vibe. So excuse me if I repeat, but in spirituality, that's kind of the premise of it, right? But you can delve into it in different ways. You can actually you can have spiritual experiences where it's energy work. You have some type of like big cry. It's like a somatic release out of your body as well, which somatic release would just be like tension, pain, uh, frustration or bubbling or itchiness of some sort gets released. You actually feel like it's a release of some sort, and you also emotionally like cry it out, yell it out. You feel that emotion, and you actually go through the memory as well. And this is like a somatic release is kind of like a symptom of it being at the deepest level that it can be. And it doesn't matter whether it's an actual illness or ailment or not. If you're somatically releasing, that means it's reached the physical point of actually like your emotional and mental body has been so stuck with it that the cells have created a element or they've been stuck in a certain position and a certain state that has become stagnant and has started to develop and grow and could have become either an illness or became an illness and now you've released it. Um, it can be kind of fucking painful in many sorts and ways, not just emotionally and mentally, but physically as well. It can be like you're constantly cramping that part, or it kind of just feels like there's a blade that's coming out of your body somehow, and there's no blade, right? It could be like a big tension or fatigue kind of releases, like a muscle spasm or cramp releases, stuff like that. Chakra block releasing is the most kind of scariest one at some points because it relates to certain parts of the body that are very much kind of terrifying when you start feeling them actually like release or go through somatic release, because it's either like, the base of your spine, which inhibits your walking and sitting and laying down and stuff like that. Then you can have like deep pelvis experiences from sacral or solar uh, somatic releases, and then you also have digestion stuff that could be happening, or even vomiting could occur through the shadow work and stuff like that if you're experiencing it. I would assume, regardless of like what you do for the work, if you actually get to the bottom of something super extreme for you, painful, volatile, or old, right? It's been there for a while, you will have these experiences and symptoms. It could come from therapy, right? Facing your anxiety. Um, could come from actually working with like spa or spiritual means of different sorts, like a health center spa. So it uses actual like proper remedies and minerals and magnet therapy, electrotherapy, stuff like that, right? Like it really like works on you in a deep centered way. Or spiritually, if you go through psychedelic guided experiences with shamans, spiritual healing processes deeper than Reiki. I don't know, Reiki experienced people could tell me if, you sometimes guide people to huge severe purges or not. I don't think I've heard of that too much personally, but I've heard it to be a thing for different other types of multidimensional or matrix healing, body matrix healings. So bioenergy healings of some sort, right? So you can tell me. You can tell me if that's the case, but um, if it's deep cleanses, if it's just deep spiritual works, if it's really, really good divinators and psychics, um, the just one experience with like a really good psychic can cause you to have like, I don't know, really fucking weird couple of weeks and you purge at the end of them. You actually barf and stuff like that. You have something happen, right? But besides that, you also can have other chakras kind of do their thing, which is the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and also the crown chakra. But there's also other two chakras that can have like a significant experience on your physical well-being and how you experience yourself, which is the star chakra or the first star chakra. There's many of them, and the earth star chakra, which is below your feet a bit. And that one still affects you because this is my understanding, definitely not scientific, although I'm using something scientific to explain my understanding and visualization and realization of how this works. I think science might explain this eventually, depending on where we're gonna be. Um, Electromagnetic fields, the bioelectro field. I can't remember how it's fucking called. There's a bioelectric field around us. And it kind of literally is kind of like a tortoise or whatever it's called. Turta? I can't remember the freaking. There's like a shape basically where there's a center at the top and the bottom, and it kind of spills out of the top, out of through the sides into the bottom, and it's kind of like that's a shape. That donut shape, that's, I can't remember the name of it, but we're kind of electromagnetic beings that have that constantly happening. We have like an electromagnetic field around us. That is actual science. The non-scientific part about it is I believe that that is heavily connected, if not actually the auric field itself. Psychics can read it and see it, and there's a bunch of shit that happens there if we could just actually see the different frequencies of light by the naked eye and other things. Moving on, that's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother episode. But the two different chakras are at like pinnacle points of that turt whatever donut of us, and it's kind of like at the opening up top and at the opening down bottom. And if those are purging, we literally can feel ourselves to be like in a different vibe ourselves. We might feel like we're trudging through deep water that's murky and muddy and just full of crap, or we can feel very elevated and safe and very much grounded and okay in our bodies if they are clear and have released a bunch of stuff. So, because we all sense air around us, we just aren't necessarily conscious of it. It is easy to forget, even if you are conscious of it. There's like, a static electricity around certain different types of people, and everyone picks up on it at different varying degrees and levels. So, depending on how those two chakras purge as well, you're either more connected to your consciousness, intuition, your vibes, or to the universe speaking to you per like particularly how it's supposed to or not, as well as you being actually grounded into you being alive here, because the Earth Star chakra kind of is like an anchor point. And if you don't want to be alive, if you have a lot of existential issues about you being here and you not wanting to be here and you not feeling connected neither to the planet nor the people nor the everything else here, you will have issues that can trickle down into there and might need to be purged out of there. Um, yeah, that's a whole other thing we're gonna talk about more in the future. But that's an example, right? You might need to go through different types of chakra healings on a spiritual level, purging of some sort. Your shadow work might involve delving into the underworld, into your shadow realm, shadow world, which is a collection of all of your shadow from multiple lifetimes. Your shadow work can really divert you into experiencing different versions of you, different versions of your shadow through different lifetimes, or actually like your whole oversoul having its own like, I don't know, fucking what do you call it? Connection bit of the shadow, right? Let's say, I don't know, it's like a cosmos of its own in a room, right? I think that's easiest to say. You're gonna need to go into that cosmos. Or if you are familiar with soul houses, which is your soul house, whatever. We'll talk about that too. I need to actually make a list of that or a note of that. Anyway, um, there's going to be a part of the soul house that is just shadow work, shadow realm, shadow shit of your own lives and experiences and what your soul hides, your higher self as well hides. All of you, the entirety of your consciousness puts away, hides, and stuffs into this box of existence. That you never did that, or that never happened, or if you avoid stuff long enough, you literally misshape and disjoint yourself and your shadow so much that your memories completely get fucked up. Just like how in real life, our brain can misremember things and make them up to be certain other things so we can cope. Um, and we can live on being who the hell we need to be just to survive, right? Same can happen at the soul level, but it's worse because you're unaligned with truth, you're unaligned with light, so much so to when it is recognizing that aspect or embodying it that it becomes twisted and it can become a mutation eventually. And in general, delusion on that level, on a soul level of ignoring your shadow, can make you fall from light, from grace, from divinity, from you just being life as you need to be, and you become a little bit fucked up. You become a bit more of a dark being that siphons life and light from others, and you don't face that. You keep kind of like digging your own hole. It's really hard to face that as well because you literally like you need to do triple the healing you needed to before, and that can multiply and multiply and multiply over countless lifetimes or over just one really bad traumatic one. It can kind of jump into like an X2 or an X3, right? And that's already more so if you've been avoiding that one aspect one or zero. Um, yeah, don't recommend that to anyone, but we all have our life journeys and we need to go through the processes we need to get very uncomfortable with our shadow and shadow work and shadow realm stuff to have no other choice but to face it eventually. It's kind of like you keep running away until you realize like your legs can't carry you, you're running to nowhere, nothing's gonna work out for you, nothing's gonna happen, or you literally are so confused you don't understand neither yourself, nor life, nor existence, nor purpose, nor simple subjects of any sort, or complicated ones, or anything, right? That you need to face the fear to understand your grasp on your own identity, your own processing, your own living matter, your own self, as it were, right? A lot of the time, the thing that can bring people back, because, like, okay, this next part isn't necessarily like a fact, but this is just a way it can occur because sometimes people are either okay with having themselves as a punching bag or having other people as a punching bag. It's just the way you need or want to deal with unresolved pain, trauma, and issues. If it's you, you're gonna keep on doing that until you see, I don't know, a huge amounting pile of evidence of how you've mistreated countless loved ones and countless people you really loved and cared for, and they didn't play games with you. They didn't play the same games with you, right? They literally kind of just sat in love and prosperity and acceptance and just kind of took it or dealt with it, and then eventually that piled up on itself enough will smack you out of it and kind of disillusion you enough to be like, oh fuck, I need to get over myself because like I lost this person because of those reasons, because of that unresolved shadow or issue or whatever it is, right? That's a harder way of having it occur or happen. The hardest is when you're actually the result of their pain is one option, but there's varying degrees to that. There's very varying degrees to that. Um, Usually on that journey, that person is going to also forgive you and still continuously love you, which makes it only harder. So, shadow work kind of is such a sharp and sensitive point that you can't run away from it. Either way, life is going to bring you to deal with the shadow work. You can't evade it forever. You shouldn't continuously just do it. You need breaks. You need to take things in bite-sized pieces or in ways that work for you and are manageable for you. If you're one of those people that likes doing marathons, fine, go on that shadow work marathon, but pull yourself out of it. Give yourself a segment of break or a scheduled re-emerging. You can't just do shadow work on end without closing off different segments of your shadow work because you will get lost in it and you will not be doing shadow work by that point. You're just going to be shadowing, and you're going to be lost in spiritual bypassing, in shadow work, in shadow realming, which is dangerous. You you start evading your own light. You start evading happiness. You stop seeing the purpose in life, and you lose faith and hope for it ever getting better or at all having purpose to have meaning or exist. So figure out how do you like doing shadow work. Is it in snippets? Is it in seasons? Is it in until you get to your own conclusion that is the right conclusion for you, right? Do you like getting to the roots of things? Do you need to follow a symptom to a different aspect of the root? Do you just need to see different sides of yourself? Do you need to just meet, that lost part of you? Like, for example, you go through shadow work just to reclaim yourself from your inner child, right? But that also is split up into different years, and you just work for like a season of that year. or different years in total, right? Or is it like, oh, I need to go and bring back that side of me that was in that relationship, and I can't stop until I bring back that side of me. Usually, before you get plunged into shadow work, you're already like being pushed to it. You can feel it like or sense it coming up. You'll understand how far you need to go or how long it'll take. Maybe at the very first time you get acquainted to it, or you get pushed to your shadow work, you aren't gonna see it because one, you've never done it or been through it, right? Or you've never done it like consciously. So it's gonna take one round for you to realize like, oh, okay, this is my process. The process is gonna change itself ever continuously because every part of shadow has its unique identity and vibe and feeling, but you will figure it out with time. It will have its own sense to you personally. The more you're going to be open to experience that and understand it, the better it's going to be and easier to identify. Bottom line of shadow work is not to just reintegrate something and bring it back, but also to shed light and love on it, to actually give yourself space for that aspect, to actually give it attention, to love it, to love yourself. Shadow work isn't just healing wounds, it's not just remembering forgotten parts. It's literally loving yourself. It's always going to be loving yourself. It's not about just sifting through pain, being in pain, and being fed up with pain. If you're in that part of it, you need a break. You need a break. I don't care how long the break is, you need a break. Um, or you need to do something in bite-sized pieces. Give yourself more time with it. I don't know. Being less harsh on yourself is like such a big shortcut through shadow work. Such a key in shadow work is not being an asshole to yourself because pain wants to be seen and recognized and understood and integrated back after being seen, recognized, and healed, right? Um, if you do shadow work, you're going to know who you are on a deeper level. You're going to accept yourself on a deeper level, and you're going to actually embody yourself on that deeper level. You're going to be more of who you truly are. Your identity is going to shine. People are going to be amazed at just getting to know you, or they're going to be super interested to talk to you. Shadow work really is worthwhile. Just don't get lost in it. And it's kind of complicated at times, and it is kind of easy to get lost in, and it can be hard, but you're always helped in doing it, even though it doesn't seem that way. A lot of the time, you're going to feel disconnected from the universe, you're going to feel disconnected from your guides, everything's going to be a pain. You might start seeing less signs, or the signs you're seeing seem doom-worthy, like they're curses, or you're just being followed by a curse of some sort. That's also a feeling that can just be with deep, intense, long periods of shadow work, but it's bringing you closer to expressing yourself truly and not avoiding that. And not avoiding that. So I recommend you give it a shot if you've not ever, I don't know, trusted yourself or you've always run away from your darker side. That's where all of your really true passionate self lies. True love. In a way, like a deeper level of true love lies beyond shadow work. That's where you can find your deep flair and fire for life. That's where you can feel more alive and more emotional about things. Um, because the deeper you can delve into your fear and anger and resentment and other things, the healthier you can be because you'll heal it and love it for what it needs to be. But also that punches you up here way beyond your expectations of what love and happiness and joy and other things can be. It evolves both sides as much as you can meet yourself, right? You can meet the other side of yourself too. And truth be told, you don't really know or understand yourself at all. You don't know how to embody yourself or feel free in your body or as you talk, as you say, without thinking or without freaking mind games and other things. unless you face your hidden truth, your shadow aspect, um, your inner demons, actually, all also like all the fear and regret and resentment and the everything you're trying to run away from. If you don't face that, you're not gonna like feel the whole potential of actual awesomeness that you are, your life can be, people around you can be. Um, it doesn't matter if at the end of it you're more of a darker version of you or a lighter version of you. You're more of a logical mind or a emotional person. If you're an artist or a fucking accountant, at the end of it, at least you'll know who the fuck you are for what you've been through. You'll rip away the mask and the fear and the suffocation that that's provided, and you'll actually like really be with it, you know? You're actually just gonna be without having a narrative around it, fears around it, suffocation, bodily pain, um, emotional like discomfort and regret, and constant like, not being able to sit right or peacefully or needing to like suffocate yourself with drugs and other things. Um, alcohol, coffee, sugar, whatever it is. And, you know, mentally, you might actually lose lifelong conditions or even like genetic things become so much more different and manageable and actually help you towards you being like your own true personality or identity behind it instead of just having labels from society. Um, because so many other things fall away alongside with it. Like you can become a whole different person by the end of like shadow work. Maybe darker, maybe lighter. You don't fucking know until you do it, but you'll definitely be more true of who you truly are, and life's gonna be more lifeful. Things are not gonna be as draining. They're gonna be easier to discern and understand and see and work towards and live by. And you're gonna have better people around you. Like you're probably gonna lose a lot of fucking like atrocious people you never knew you were dealing with. You might just lose a lot of people you love but are unhealthy. You might just lose in general like triggering toxic people. Whatever you're gonna lose, it's not gonna be worth it because you're gonna gain so much more uh, despite it, in spite of it. So yeah, if you want me to make a video explaining or giving you tips about shadow work, how to delve into it, what practices to do, or other stuff regarding it, like go ahead, let me know. Because this one was only really, I don't know, I was talking about freaking shadow work, I guess. How well I explained it or not, it's neither here or there. I'm just having fun. I hope this helps you. I hope it helped you get motivated to do something or to recognize how much you've already done. If all of this was very much self-explanatory and understandable to you and it didn't click on anything, it was just enjoyable to listen to, and you didn't get triggered at all, good job. Yeah, I believe that's a positive sign in of itself. But yeah, explore your shadow realm and underworld and bring it to the light, bring some light into it. Let it actually create more of a foundation for light or who you truly are in general, like the true knowing of it, and see where it gets you. And um I hope you're not afraid of yourself enough so to not heal yourself. Be brave, be courageous. You only have to deal with yourself for all of eternity, so why not take the plunge? You're the only person that's always going to have to feel your emotions and think the things and sit with the experiences you've had, and don't push it, don't stress it if you don't have to. Like, don't get addicted to it and don't make your life purpose only around it or about it. It's supposed to make you realize who you are and then help you live your life forward instead of just keeping you stuck in that realm of darkness and identifying with it to just be you. Um, but everyone's different. Maybe that's different for you, but that's my opinion. I'm gonna fucking stick by it. So Thank you so much for being here and sitting through this episode. Let me know if you wanna let me know something, and if not, that's fine too. I appreciate just, thumbs up. And I'll come back to you with I don't know what now. I don't know what. I really don't know what. Now we might be moving on to a different saga of the Occult Saga podcast. I don't freaking know. We'll see. It's an adventure. So you have a beautiful day wherever you are, whatever you're going through. I hope you cope well through what you need to cope through, and we'll talk next time. Peace.